Hello, y'all. Welcome to Bam Bam Raw TV on Bam Bam, aka the 411 Giant. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you know when my next video coming out. Now, on this episode here, we're going to talk about the podcast dramas. You know what I'm saying? And the things that, the irritating things and going on about being a podcaster. All right. I'm supposed to be on my way to work, but I was in the mix of my last episode. I said I was going to get to this now. I was going to get to it while I was on my mind. Okay. In the podcast drama. Number one, podcasters are one of the lowest in the media circuit as far as that and as far as with the money, as far as with a lot of stuff. Now, you got some exceptions to the rule. And like some influencer who up there making big money and got a little bit more, a lot of little attention. But the majority of podcasters of people working, struggling, getting in here, getting in that. So what is they doing to be in the mix and to stay in the mix? Are they giving it to you straight and boom? Or are they just looking for something for shock value or doing things to get you to watch? I mean, so that's part of the plan to get subscribers and get people to watch. And then based on what you choose to give them. You want to choose to feed them garbage, you feed them garbage. If you want to feed them real stories and hopefully some with an antidote, then you feed them that. You want to feed them entertainment. It's just that people getting them mixed up. First thing we're going to go to with the drama, with back and forth. Podcasters beefing with each other, talking about each other, finding the lowest thing that they could use to disgrace or degrade a person, whether it's true or not. This is what they're doing back and forth. This, you know what I'm saying? They're doing this back and forth with each other to get content, to get people to watch. You know what I'm saying? They have belittled themselves to the point where they playing the clown or they playing the messy girl or they playing this and that to keep their whole podcast is based on keeping them mess. It's never looking inward or looking at nothing that positive for somebody. It's keeping a mess. Because unfortunately, because we have been through so much in our life, a lot of people love mess. They love living off other people's mess, so that way they don't have to look at their own mess. Because you look at your own mess, it's time to start cleaning it up, but you got to try. I make a lot of mistakes, but I got to look at myself first before I look at anybody else. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do. They get away from their issues by living off somebody else mirroring their issues. And I mean, that's just life. It's life. And these podcasters, they play to that. And I mean, that's their business. If that's what they choose to, if they doing it for their reason. Anyway, you got the people, here they is. They working together 2 years. They friends, they families, they whatever. And then, whether it's over attention, whether it's over dislike for this, whether it's over for money or whatever, they break up. But when they break up, they can't just break up. Now they got to come back and hurt the other people. They got the same thing Elon Musk did to Trump when he told him your association with Jeffrey Epstein. The same thing 50 Cent did to Big Meech when he called him a rat after they had the little misunderstanding. That's exactly the same thing they doing. They talking about each other, they trying to hurt each other and going on. But the contract gonna have the last say so. It's gonna have the last say so with Trump. It's gonna have the last say so with Big Meech and what's called that contract. Gonna make you lay down in the bed with that person, or it's gonna make the contract gonna make somebody pay out. But that contract gonna be the last word on it. All that old this here ain't going on. That ain't got no last word. That's just mouth music. That ain't got no word. You just making a scene, and that's something to do. But you got people, but you always strike and trying to hurt people, and you don't understand, or you may understand that when you point that finger at that person and you degrade that person, or you say that person is the stupid person you ever been with, or you worked with, but you done worked with them for 10 years. So you stupid for being stupid with a person for 10 years when you know they stupid. You say they're a rat, but you've been working with them for 10 years. So that means that you've been harboring a rat for 10 years. You say that they're rapists, but you've been fooling with them for 10 years. But you never said nothing about that. I respect you more if you say, you know what, this dude a rapist and all that going on. I think he made up for it, and I think he didn't change his life. If you acknowledge that while you fooling with him, I can respect that. But when you wait till you to fell out with him, then you bring the skeleton out the closet. Oh, he a rapist, or he a rat, he this and that. And you willingly work with this dude and you felt this way. When you point that finger at him, my mom always told me, you pointing full back at yourself. You understand? So when people are doing that, I don't think it's flattering. I don't think it's this and that. But I mean, it get their attention is going on. But the podcasters, we being a lower level on the pedestal. We the lowest level, and we got people. As my mama again used to say, a saying that I heard: to be or not to be. That's a thing. That's still a thing right now. Even with people who get on the podcast, to be or not to be is more important than get on there and telling the truth. To be or not to be, or what they call a viral sensation, or overnight get this attention. You got people get on the podcast and say some of the most degrading things, or say something that gets shock value. And I mean, if a dude confess something and they done something pretty much degrading or whatever and going on, even if they confess it and say, hey, man, I don't do it no more, I'm sorry, and going on, and you say it for that reason to show another person that, hey, okay, you can overcome this here. But you making clowns, you getting out, you're lying. You ain't. I've been doing time all my life. You ain't done some of this shit that you saying you done. And if you have done that, you done it under being a patient of a lunatic. You didn't do it with no structure. You were just reacting as a patient. You did not have a coordinated action. Some of those people that be talking, I don't see now coordinated action in nothing they did. It always just, I went in there, dude, I look around, dude bent over, I ate his ass. And you saying all this stuff is shock value, it's not even consistent. One minute you doing this, and the next minute you fighting off a giant, then the next minute you beefing with the folks, and I mean to each his own. But a lot of this is shock value. It's not consistent. I mean, you got people who wild out like that and going on, but them dudes they ain't thinking. They ain't thinking, and they usually either killed or they separated from people. Because when you wilding out to the point that you don't care about nobody, you don't care about dying, you're gonna do what you do, you're gonna do like that. And most of them, you hear about them, you read about them in the papers. You read about their death, or you read about them being on death row. You going on. So it's got to be, it's a coordinated effort with staying sane and going insane. You got to be able to balance both of those when you're dealing with people. You got to make a dude think you're crazy, and sometimes you actually do have to go crazy about a situation. But you got to have enough sense to know this situation here, if you do this here, there ain't going to be you no more. This going to end you. And not even the stupidest animal in the world deliberately go into a situation to knowing that it's going to end them. Unless I take that back, some have. But anyway, to get to this here point, a lot of these things, and I hope the people who watching take these things, these people be saying that's entertainment. Now, there could be entertainment in knowing, okay, this is a violent situation. I make people wear a violent situation and hope that they avoid. But a lot of this clown stuff that people are saying is just for attention. And if they have done it, they have done it. And you can talk, you can listen to people. You can tell when a person is actually down with reality. You look at, even if you ain't been to jail, you can look at the inconsistency. 1 minute you finna kill somebody about this here, then next minute you finna do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? 1 minute you said this is the code, and then next minute you tell me you did this here, and you know it was against the code, but the code this and that. And so it's a lot of stuff. So the podcasting stuff that I say that I don't really care about, and I don't participate in it, and I stay away from it, and even through association. If somebody get me caught up in it, I bag out of it. I bag out of it because that's not how I move. And nobody's gonna have me moving like I don't move. You're not gonna get me in this no little broad spat back and forth saying stuff back and saying and planning going on. That's not what I do. I'm here. I'm gonna tell my stories. You want to hear them, you hear them. You can always give some. I got so many people that can verify what I say. So that's just simple as that. This about the podcast drama, and that drama is not just solely with podcasters. It's with Donald Trump. It's with movie stars. It's with a lot of people. It's with a lot of people that when they get attention on them, when they make money, when they let these things become bigger than them, that's what you get. And as DC dudes would call them, they anything. When people get like that, how can you put them in they anything? What would they do? Anything. Why would they, you know what I'm saying? They anything. And that's what DC dudes call these. If a dude come through there, crash dummy, or can get into anything, ain't got no thinking going on there, say, you ask him, say, hey man, what's up with you do? What's up with your homeboy? And one of them DC men gonna tell you, oh, he anything. You know to stay far away from that sucker. Cause he'll say anything, he'll do anything, he'll turn on you, he'll do this. He got no principles. He got no foundation. So I'm not gonna drag you on about this here because I got to get out of here and get to work. I'm a working man. And so anyway, love you. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and check out, hit that bell icon so you know my next video coming out. And check out this project that I'm working on. I'm working on the mind of serial killers, murderers, and to look at it from their perspective. Because you see something that's an atrocity, you see something at this and that, but the view that these particular people have at that time is not the ideal atrocity of gross and evil thing that you think. And you'll be surprised. It's how simple some of this thinking is. All right, catch y'all. Look forward to it. It's coming up at y'all. All right, again, peace. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you know my next video coming out. All right, out of here.